4 out of the last 5 games. They're a hot team and lost a tough game, a close game to a hot Missouri team as well. So it's a team that, again, they got all their pieces together with their size, Davis, Williams, Gilder, and Hogs, a guy that really shot the ball well for them in the second half. And I think the guy that's really kind of sparked him has been the Starks kid. I think the guard is really kind of spearheaded, how they've been playing right now, kind of completing them a little bit. But it's a team with size. One of the bigger front lines you're going to find in the country, and that's going to be our task is to how do we neutralize those guys or stay in the ballpark with them, especially on the glass. They beat us really bad on the glass at their place, and but we get a chance to play them again and hopefully have a better performance on Saturday.
Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you.
Yeah, Mike, I know you're saying the other night, obviously Ole Miss missed some shots, Vandy missed some shots, but that was the worst Ole Miss's shot all year. It's the second worst Vandy shot. South Carolina only shot about 40%. What do you think has been happening in those games since you guys gave up 94 and now your field goal defense has been really sharp?
I think our defense has been much better. I think our guys are paying attention to detail. We're fixing some things on defense, whether we're in a half-court defense, full-court defense, matchup defense. I think our guys are kind of on point in terms of helping each other. We get more charges. We're protecting the rim. And at times we've done a good job of guarding the perimeter. And if you go back to the A&M game, it's one of those games where early on in the game, it was a one-point game at halftime. But in the second half, we kind of left those guys open, and they started knocking down some threes. And before you know it, they had a big-time run. But I think our bench is involved. Guys are not playing as tired or playing as many minutes, so you can't pace yourself now. With the emergence of Darius continues to play well, playing with a lot of confidence. Gabe is coming out playing well. CJ. I think those guys come out and play with, and when I say energy, I'm talking about the effort. It's not just the energy. I think it's the effort, making the second and third and fourth effort of getting loose balls. We see Darius really going to the glass, hard to the glass. He got 11 rebounds the other night, and we're just seeing that on display. So that's contagious. Gabe is the guy that goes in and keeps balls alive, making people foul him. So. Again, when I use the word energy, I'm talking about the impact they're having offensively, defensively, running the floor, getting the ball to the short corner, getting the ball moved, screening, just doing all the little things, spacing the floor, just doing all the little things on defense. So if you want to, I guess in a nutshell, I think our defense has gotten better.
When you're putting the game plan together for this game, how much do you take into account the first matchup that you had with A&M compared to their last 4 games that they've played since?
I think they're better than they were even when we played them. I thought that was probably the coming out party when we played them. They made some shots, and I think that just it takes you up a notch on defense because they got some shot blockers back there. They're going to limit you to one shot, so you got to make sure it's a good shot. You got to try to get to the free throw line because if you don't keep them off the glass, they're going to get to the free throw line. So, again, second chance points are going to be big. And so when we go back to talk about it being won in the paint, that's what we're talking about, offensive rebounds. Can we get to the free throw line, attacking them? We've got to get the game up and down the floors, without a doubt, and make the game as chaotic as we possibly can. And we did it for a half. I thought for a half there we were in good shape, and we just didn't do it for 40 minutes. And that's this time of year, you got to do it for 40 minutes, and your defense has got to be on point.
I guess just with all the emphasis on rebounding, how tough is it where a guy like, a big guy like Hogs then steps out and shoots the threes, and kind of what do you do to really cover both areas?
I think we got to be with him. I think you got to make him a driver. There are some guys you got to close out long, some guys you got to close out short. With a guy can shoot it like that, and he's got that range. He got the the same kind of range as Darren does. Plus he's 6'8", so I think you got to make him really close out and make him put it on the floor. And as opposed to, let's say if Williams out there, Williams not going to shoot threes, so you can come out there a little short on him. But those guys that shoot the basketball, you got to get out there and you try not to let them get going. And we did a good job in the first half. In the second half, he showed what he's capable of doing. And as I said, I thought the Starks kid did a really good job. And Gilder, he's just a steady player. He's a steady player. I mean, in that last game, Davis had 11 offensive rebounds. 11 offensive rebounds, man. That's more rebounds than one team gets. So we got to keep him off the glass.
I guess also Anton Beard, just how do you feel he's played lately? I know last game you really were touting him, and then kind of what's his role against a team like A&M?
He's got to be that leader for us. He's got to be a little general out on the floor. He's got to get guys in the right spot. He got to talk to them. He got to calm our guys down. He's got to pump him up. I mean, he's got to be the floor general. You got to knock down open shots when he gets them. He just got to provide that grit. That's what we got to have. We got to have a guy out there with some grit, and but not only that, you got to have a guy out there with some head. And he's been through the wars, and this time of the year you got to have somebody out there on that floor that can get you into things, can be that coach out there on the floor. But he's playing well. I think he's more healthier now. You know, with that ankle injury, I think he's back in the groove now, so to speak, and that's big for our basketball team.
You know, these last I know there's no easy outs in the SEC this year, but the last 3 wins have come against teams that are at the bottom of the standings. Next 5 games are against teams, you know, they're either a game behind you, a game ahead, or Auburn's leading. Well, how tough a stretch is this, and how ready do you think you guys are with how you're playing now? I
think we're playing better than we were, let's say, maybe a month ago, Bob. And this is when you want to start playing some of your better basketball. I think we have more guys ready to play, and I'm trusting them now to go out and play. I'm trusting Gabe to come off the bench and be the first forward to come out there and give us quality minutes. We see what Darius is doing. I think CJ is playing with a lot more now. He's playing a lot more confidence right now. Even Cook coming out there, I thought he gave us some big minutes the other night. Dustin Thomas started off the other night, and I thought he came in and did a pretty good job. So we getting all those other guys. Now we just got to continue with the starters, keep doing the things they've been doing, and do it in an efficient manner. Daniel, when you look at him, you know, less minutes is probably more productivity for him. So that, to me, that proves a point right there, you know, in terms of, you know, all the minutes that guys play. You know, when you go out, be efficient with what you do. But in terms of our league, from top to bottom, it's still one of the tougher leagues in the country. So I don't know. I don't get it where you guys talking about guys at the bottom and top and all that stuff. Every game in this league, it's tough. I don't care where you play, at home, on the road, it don't matter. So, but obviously there are challenges and there's opportunities for us. So we look forward to continue to take care of home, and when we go on the road, opportunity to go out and steal one on the road.
Is there an update on Adrio, and how do you figure he'll figure in this?
He'll practice today, and we'll see. I tell you what, you know, that bug went through him pretty good. He lost a little weight, and so we'll see how he can produce in practice here the next couple of days. But he will practice today.
How big was it to have 2 quick fouls and yet, you know, be able to play the whole game or most of the game? And I guess he got in foul trouble at A&M. Just kind of what do you do to protect him against those big guys like that?
The experience has got to kick in for him. You know, how he's getting these little fouls. I mean, I think he made a statement the other night about, you know, turning sideways, not moving his feet. You know, the first foul he got was on a 3-point shot in the last game, Ole Miss game. Just got to play smarter, and I'm going to, you know, he gets him. I'll put him out there and see if he can play through it. It's amazing. He played the other night, and I don't even believe he picked up another foul. You know, granted, we were in the matchup zone, but still yet, I thought he was active and just played a lot smarter. And so experience has got to continue to be something he gets each and every game. And he's going against some of the bigger bodies, some of the better players in our league. And so it's going to be interesting to see how he matches up and how he plays, especially having to play these guys already once. He played them once. So let's see if that experience has kicked in so he can use it to his advantage here.
Mike, I know some of these teams you've been playing have missed some open shots, but do you feel like you've made them take some quick shots and maybe had, from their standpoint, you know, you've had the right guys taking shots because you've covered up the guys that they want taking shots? So you might have a big guy, you know, the other night, Fumu, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he's out there taking jumpers, and I'm sure that's not what Ole Miss wants. Do you, from that standpoint, do you feel like the defense has been pretty effective?
I think our guys have been dialed in on defensively. You know, we've been really we were getting torched from the three-point line. So now guys have made a conscientious effort of being where the shooters. Vanderbilt's a very good shooting basketball team. The last year they came and they couldn't miss. And I guess this year, according to some of you guys, they couldn't make them. Part of it, they didn't make them, but it's something we had to do with it too, I think. Run them off the line, rhythm, shooting is rhythm. And we want to disrupt that rhythm. And that's going to be our mindset even as we move forward. But I think our defense has gotten better, Bob. I do.
Coach, your team has obviously been really good at home, and A&M only has one win in conference on the road. How important is the crowd going to be for you guys on Saturday?
Our crowd is always fantastic. I think it's worth 8 to 10 points. So for fans, we need your points.
Daniel, like Nate said, he kind of struggled down there at A&M, but he seems like he's in a pretty good groove right now. How confident are you that he'll be, have a bigger impact in this game than he did in the first one?
I think Daniel will continue to play with a lot of confidence. I mean, we'll see when he gets out on the floor. I just think, having, teammates have his back. Sometimes guys, you're playing well, and all of a sudden you start feeling like you gotta do it. You gotta be that guy. Well, I want Daniel to go ahead and go at it, like I said, his own pace, and just go and be the best college player you can be, and don't put no pressure on yourself to, I got to do this, I got to do that. And that's where guys like Trey and Gabe and Dustin Thomas, they all come into play to help our basketball team. It's just like the other night, by the standards that these guys have played this year, Barford and Macon. I mean, they didn't score big in that game the other night, but we had some other guys to fill in, and that to me is the balance that we've got to have with our basketball team, because people are going to key in on those guys, and you got to have some of those other guys step up. CJ, Darius, he had a good night. Daniel had a good night. So you got multiple guys that can score, and I think that's when your team's like that. Even Beard, I think Beard was in double figures. When your team is balanced like that, it makes it difficult for opponents to say who are they going to cover. And I even heard, I think it was Andy Kennedy. I heard him talk about, well, we didn't think these guys could score. We didn't think these guys. Well, they're out there on the floor for a reason. It ain't just to play defense. They can score too.
J.J. Caldwell was supposed to be the star point guard this year for A&M, but, it hadn't worked out. He's off the team now. J.J. Caldwell for A&M. He's not on the team now, but you alluded to Starks. Just what have you thought about his development, how big a key has Starks been, and how big a key will he be on Saturday to slow him down?
I was impressed with him. We played him. I was really impressed with him, especially the second half, first half and the second half. I mean, he's one of those guys got a high motor. He can get to the basket and finish. He's making his three-point shot, and he's distributing the basketball. So I think with the personnel that they have, I think he's ideal for what's taking place with them. I think he's a big part of why you're seeing them kind of come together. They got all the pieces back, and he's probably was one of those missing pieces. So I was impressed with him.